everything is focused on the individual instead of it being there's 30 kids in this class and we have this one test that we have to make sure they all pass at the end of the year. The focus shifts from that into a place of what does this child need to grow? What is this child interested in? How can we cultivate their unique interests into something that they can do the rest of their lives?
Vita Prep is essentially a project-based learning school. So we believe in learning through action as opposed to learning from a textbook. And so the way we do that is we break our year into sessions. Each session has a theme, and every theme is a deep dive into a particular subject. So for example, right now we're studying space. Our session's called Destination Space, and it's all about rockets and space travel and the rocket programs of the recent history. So we're deep diving into that. We're engineering our own rockets. We're building rockets that will actually launch and doing those things hands-on so that our students can learn about engineering in space through that activity.
So we're doing our best to think ahead of what's going to come and prepare their students for that. So we're teaching them how to use AI tools. We know email's probably not going away, so we're teaching them how to use emails and write emails like they would to their boss. In our middle school, they're doing job shadows. So they're getting this real world experience so that they can see that there are other jobs out in the world and not just the famous lawyer, doctor, teacher type jobs.
What I love about our school is not just academic driven, but we really want our children to become successful socially and emotionally, right, and regulate behaviors. So I have one child who, the beginning of the year, literally running around the classroom, just couldn't regulate. If you walked in my classroom today, you would not even know who that child was.
So we started Vita Prep because I was really tired of doing all the testing and being forced to teach my students things that they weren't ready to learn. I really would have rather taught them at their level instead of their grade level, because you can't close that gap if you're teaching them things that they're not ready to learn.
I mean, we empathize a lot with teachers and administrators in the public system because it's not their fault. This is a system problem, not an individual problem. So my wife has been in public ed for the last 10 years before we started Vita. We've seen the box of kids that they serve just get smaller and smaller every year because there's less resources, there's less willingness, and there's more testing. So you get this situation where everyone around the kid knows what's best for the kid, but they can't do what's best for the kid because there are people higher up and others and systems in power that are preventing that from happening. We believe that the person closest to the kid should be making the decisions about what that kid needs in partnership with the parent and the student.
What's really great about being here is that these kids who might be in second grade reading on a kindergarten level can actually be reading and working at a kindergarten level instead of being forced to learn with the class at a second grade level.
Having that one-on-one attention and having someone that believes in you, like once we can get them confident in their abilities, then they're gonna take off. But if they're too afraid to even try, then they're not gonna learn.
I feel like my kids getting an education here definitely better prepares them for real world life experiences versus prepares them to take a test.
Vita Prep is a school that focuses on the child, whether that child is a slow learner or a fast learner. They model it towards your child.
I felt like he was still down here and they just kept pushing all this stuff at him in another school, and now it's like his pace and he feels way less weight on his shoulders. I have so much less stress as a parent being here.